What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the PixelPlay Podcast. Sans Chris, as you can see here, unless, Chris is just magically hiding behind this PixelPlay logo that you see here on the YouTube side of things, but it is back to the old ways for one episode only, we hope. But, just the old crew, Adam and Kaylan here with you folks. Kaylan, how you doing on this, what feels like 2022 all over again?
I know, it was back to the original crew, the A-team, now that we've gotten rid of Chris. Hopefully he gets released from that third world prison. It's crazy circumstances that got him there, but I really hope it all works out for the best.
Well, it's what happens when you get into trouble in Final Fantasy land. You kind of get stuck in a prison. He's got to kill God first before he's allowed to come back here, so he's got some work to do.
It's the normal thing, right? So
yeah, just basic gamer stuff,
Thoughts and prayers to him.
Yeah. Well, they probably work better in video games than real life, but hey, that's a conversation for another day. So, on this episode, we have a number of fun topics for you. We're trying to keep away from anything that all three of us would need to be here for, so we came up with some fun ideas. This week on the show, we are going to go over our predictions from last year. Spoiler alert, we weren't very good on most of them, but we'll get into that later. Then we're also going to have a fun little thing where we're going to try to put together a roster for a Smash Brothers level crossover game that has to do with every single major console. So we have Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and then also third party as well. And we will have 5 from each, so we'll get into that. And then I also have a review this week, our first Untimely review of 2023. I mean, actually, yeah, I don't think we actually reviewed anything last week. Technically, it would have been my review of Eastward, but I thought about potentially doing a review of Eastward here on the show, and then realized I basically did it when I called it my #1 game, so I'm like, I think I don't need to do it twice.
Yeah, surprise twist, #1 game, didn't really like it.
Yeah, by the time the game's over, actually,
yeah,
I went back and played it. It's actually garbage. I don't know why. But no, that is our show this week. So, Kaylan, where would you like to start? Do you want to start with the old and work our way towards the potential future?
Yeah, let's go back 1 year. I think it's pretty much almost a year to the date that we released that episode, because I think we released the prediction episode January 12th. And
yeah, we probably try to do it as close to the beginning of January as we could.
Man, so young and naive. 2022, didn't even know what was coming.
Well, considering how much came out, I don't think we did either, because there's a lot of things that we thought were going to happen and they did not, and then there's a lot of things that we figured was going to go this specific way, it did not. I'd say that, like, with the predictions, without spoiling it, I think it's a 50-50 split, but there's going to be a few technicalities thrown in here to kind of make it work.
Let's see who wins. I'm going to keep a score as we go through it.
All right, well, I'll start from, it's basically going to start with me and then you, and we're going to keep going back and forth here. So my first one was that Arc Systems Works, so for those who don't know, the guys who make Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, they did Persona 4's Arena games, they did Dragon Ball FighterZ, they just recently did Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. So I thought that they were going to do a crossover anime fighting game. I didn't specifically say when it was going to announce. I just said they were going to do one. And so far that has gone nowhere. That has not happened at all. So that is a no from me. So I'm already down to a big fat goose egg. Kaylan, your first one was that you said Xbox Game Pass last year was going to come to smart TVs. That still sounds like something they might do, but it hasn't quite happened yet. And I think we even talked about it during that It's a distinct possibility, but it would probably come in the later half of the year because they still wanted to not screw up the sales of Xboxes in the early stages.
Well, they're still talking, because I think if I remember Game Pass. You know what? I'm going to argue that this one is actually true, because during the Video Game Awards, they actually showed that it was now available on smart TVs, or was that a coming soon thing?
I don't. Did it come out? Let me see here.
I think, or did it because I think they said it was on some TVs. I'm gonna make an argument here.
Oh, you might actually have an argument here, because I might have missed this part. Oh no, I think you're right. Never mind.
Yes, on the board.
I missed that. Well, it's a good thing for you having a memory, because then the YouTube comments would have been like, actually, Kaylan won this round.
I should have left it. We could use that YouTube engagement.
Well. Now they're just going to say, that radical guy doesn't do his research. How did he forget that Xbox doesn't come to smart TVs? I didn't watch most of the Game Awards, and to be completely honest, I have an Xbox and a PC. I don't give a shit about smart TVs at this point.
But I think it's limited right now to just like some
Yeah, it's Samsung
Samsung
2021
models.
and 2022 smart TVs. I just looked at it.
Cool. Well, one on the board. Suck it.
All right, fine. You win this one. Well, I can already tell you then you've probably won this one because you made some less crazy predictions than what I did. But anyways, my next one was that there was going to be a leak for a planned slim console of either of the two major ones. I'm putting this as a sort of because we have had the leaks of them potentially having a removable disc PS5.
Didn't Sony actually come out and say that they were doing that?
Was it like I know there was a leak of it first. I don't know if have they officially announced it yet.
I don't know. I thought they did. I'll take.
We're learning more as we go here because like I quickly put together a predictions list together without actually researching it, just based off of what I remember.
I'm checking right now.
Because I'm seeing an article of them saying like they've sent test kits out. I don't think they've officially announced it though, have they?
I don't think they've announced it. Yeah, it's all reportedly it's all reportedly or rumors.
Yeah, so that's why I'm giving myself the yes, but debated on the verbiage. But
I'll give you a half a point.
I'll take whatever points I can get, honestly.
Okay.
Your next one was Nintendo will announce Mario Kart 9 and will be a Diddy Kong racing sort of game. We have not had any official Mario Kart news at this point, which is not shocking because Nintendo's like, new games, you say? I thought you were talking about The Legend of Zelda.
We gave you Zelda 5 years ago. What more do you want?
Right? I mean, you might get another Splatoon game before that.
Yeah. ARMS 2.
But yeah, that was a big fat no. My next one was that Sony will announce an alternative to Game Pass. Well, that was an easy one. My second part of it was it's going to be fairly priced and we're going to think it's barely an upgrade when it launches. I want to say I was dead on that.
Yeah, I'll give that one to you.
Because, like, I mean, look, Extra's pretty good. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Extra is fantastic as someone who doesn't buy a lot of stuff automatically anymore. But yeah, I was dead on about Premium being not that much of an upgrade.
No. Yeah, you called that one.
Well,
yeah, I got Extra like a couple months ago. I haven't even touched it yet.
It's fine. Like, I use it as much as I use Game Pass. It seems like I'll use it once in a blue moon. Xbox has the advantage, I think, because they put more indie stuff on there. So with Sony, like, for example, I could get around to playing Yakuza now, like a dragon without spending money. Like, there's a few things here and there, like Kingdom Hearts is all on there. Like, there's some stuff that like interests me if I want to get back around to it, but I would say if I'm choosing one before the other, I'm probably doing 2 games for every one on Game Pass compared to Extra. So
yeah.
Next up, we both had Cyberpunk 2077 predictions. I'll start with the one that I got wrong. I thought it was going to be delayed to the second half of 2022 for the next gen version. I was wrong. You said it was going to release in 2022. That wasn't exactly that hot a take. And then you also said it will turn opinions around. I think that's a subjective yes, because I think, again, opinions are all subjective, but it did pick up.
I disagree. It got the Labor of Love award. Go on Reddit. Everyone's talking about Cyberpunk. Like,
but did it turn my opinion around? I didn't get it yet. So no,
yeah,
it didn't.
It yet.
Whose opinions are we talking about, sir?
You don't get an opinion because you haven't played it yet. So I'm giving myself a point on that one.
And then last but not least, you said that The Last of Us multiplayer would release in 2022. You said a bunch of other stuff, and it doesn't really matter because it never came out. We still haven't even gotten an official like gameplay trailer of it still.
We haven't even gotten anything about it. All we know is it exists.
Yeah, we know it's coming, maybe.
We know it's coming, TBD. And
then my last prediction was the easiest one I've ever made in my life. Starfield was going to be delayed to 2023.
Is that all the predictions we had?
That was ever like unless like because I skirted through the video because we tried to do this with like 15 minutes before we started recording, so I quickly rifled through. I'm pretty sure I got them all. Podcast? What's that?
Don't give away our secrets of how disorganized we are.
Well, it's more like okay. Well, we'll pull the curtain back. We were originally going to record on a different day, and Kaylan wasn't going to be on the show because he was going to be busy. And then the one day that we had free, suddenly Chris was not here, and now Kaylan's here, and we cobbled together our lineup in like 30 minutes.
He's not committed like I am to this podcast, so. Well, Adam, because of your BS 0.5 I gave you, you win by 0.5. So I got 2 predictions correct. You got 2.5.
I'll take it.
So
I'll take it.
built me up with that whole I think Kaylan's got it, and then take it away from me.
Well, because some of mine were subjective. That's why I was like,
Yeah. I mean, they were subjective, but once again, so was my Cyberpunk, and I gave myself a point for that.
So you tried to cheat at a point and it didn't work anyway. All right, got
No, I still crashed and burned.
it. Well, hopefully
Adam,
what won't crash and burn is 2023, and we'll probably do a predictions video. I would imagine next week we'll probably do our outlook on what we think 2023 might look like once we get Chris back, and give our predictions that will probably be completely off base on as per usual.
no, we're getting better at this.
Honestly, I'm surprised we got like basically 50-50. Some of the ones when I looked at first, I'm like, how did we even consider the? Oh wait, that actually made sense at the time, didn't it?
Because we're professionals, Adam.
Yeah, by reading
our
Reddit
finger
a
on
lot.
the pulse. Our finger is on the pulse of gaming. Adam, I want to switch gears here. I want to take us back to the console wars. There's a lot that goes on with console wars. You go into any forum, any sort of discussion, and it's all Xbox versus PlayStation. Nintendo's doing its own thing in the corner. So I thought, we need to solve it. We need to solve this. We need to bring. It's 2023. We need to bring world peace to the console gaming. And so I thought the only way that we could do this is a battle royale sort of system, aka like a fighting game style Smash. So I proposed to you. I said, Adam, if we were to do a console war battle royale, I want you to come with me with 5 characters to represent each console.
We were originally going to go with 10, and then we realized how difficult Microsoft was going to be for 10.
Once again, we threw this together in 15 minutes. Like,
I spent more time on that than the predictions, and I stared at Microsoft's for like 5 minutes straight, looking at all their characters and went, these are all cross-platform. What am I going to do for like 7 to 10? And I finally prodded you. It was like, I give up. We have to down it down to 5. I'm screwed.
Microsoft has some challenges ahead of it, but yeah.
Well, I was also trying not to copy games. That was the other thing, because otherwise it was going to be Gears of War, Halo.
Okay. Well, you're not going to like my list then.
All right. Well,
how do you want to do this? Do you want to do it one per console? Do you want to go one console?
No, let's just do one console at a time and just do the 5.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
You tell me.
Let's start with the easy one. Let's do Sony. We'll go 1-1. So, who was the first person you had on your list?
Is there any other option for the first person that comes to mind? Like, you figure, you gotta go with Fat Princess from the... No, Kratos, obviously.
Yeah. Are we doing like Greek God of War, or are we doing?
Oh no, current, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got especially with the Smash game, you've got more weapons to choose from, which makes sense in having different combos and such. So,
100%. For the sake of, I'll go next. Mine was Jin Sakai, the Ghost of Tsushima. I thought that's a really cool way because you could go the samurai route with swords and stuff, or you can go the sneaky bastard route and go down the ninja route and just start stabbing. So, Jin Sakai was my number 1.
I left Jin off mine just because I wanted to not have too many of the same thing. So I actually have somebody who's more in the samurai stuff for Nintendo's, or not Nintendo, Microsoft. So I'll save that for later. But
ooh, intriguing.
My second one, I put an Aloy. That's another gimme to me, and also has potential too with being able to obviously the bow and the staff, but you also have potentially a move where you ride the what's the name of the basic like the cow one that you only, I think the one you only ride in the first one.
Bull. I don't know. It's called the bull.
Yeah, whatever one that is. But like, you have some nice little options there with Aloy.
Yeah, that was on my list, but then I cut her out at the last minute, and you'll see why. My next one was Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. Mm-hmm. I figure he's in the original one, and he's good because he's a melee character with his Omni Wrench, I guess it's called, and then you've got a ton of weapons that you can just have fun with. So. I went with Ratchet.
Yeah, for sure. Ratchet's on my list at number 4. Number 3, I had Nathan Drake, just because I feel like that's a gimme. Not every character is going to be like perfect for a video game of this magnitude with Smash Brothers, but like if you're going to have like the big franchise players in Sony, I feel like it's extremely ridiculous to not put Nathan Drake on there. Now, granted, you're not going to have as much applicability as say like a Kratos or an Aloy, but I don't think a lot of people care because, I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom did Frank fucking West from Dead Rising and they made it work, so.
Yeah, I was going to put Nathan Drake and then I was going to put Joel from The Last of Us, and I thought Joel would have been a better choice, in my opinion, just because you get the shooting aspect of Nathan Drake, but then I feel like Joel's a little bit more of a melee character in that you have, like, melee weapons and you have, like, shivs and you can, like, shiv somebody in this game because we're going hardcore.
Yeah, I was going between Last of Us and Uncharted, and eventually I just went, well, Nathan Drake at this point I think is still the more
He's
sexy
definitely
name.
more iconic. So, my next one I had was Cole from Infamous, particularly the second one. Once again, similar to Ratchet, I think like you've got his little cattle prod, you've got fire, you've got ice, and then you've got I think it's fire, you got electricity, and then you can like hover around. Like he's such a mobile character that I thought that'd be a really cool way of doing it.
Yeah, I considered him too, and then I went, nah, I think it's been far enough that I have much more interesting answers than Cole at this point.
Fair enough.
Like I said, I already did
He
Ratchet.
he was the one that bumped Aloy.
Yeah. So we already did Ratchet. So my last one, I threw a more of a side one out there that I thought would actually be really good for a Smash game, though. I took a Cat from Gravity Rush.
Ooh.
Because just the traversal that she does really makes her a very interesting character in terms of gameplay. And I also thought, too, is like, hey, I can't just keep throwing the big players, unless it's Nintendo, in which case you have to throw out the big players. But
they have nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, in this case, like, I wanted to throw like one cool one in there, and I figured Cat was the best option. Because, I mean, I also thought about like Joker from Persona 5 or Sora from Kingdom Hearts, but they technically already exist in Smash, so they're now, I think, in cross-platform territory, so I kind of left those ones out.
Yeah. I'm gonna just scratch this one because I put Kratos as well. I think like you've got range with like the Leviathan axe, and I think he's a good all-around character to have. My last one is I put Cloud from Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play the games. I don't know, but it's a cool character with a badass sword. Like I feel like that would kind of work out well.
And it works because 7 Remake is kept away from other consoles right now. So.
And isn't technically Final Fantasy 7 originally also a PlayStation exclusive? Yes. Yeah, so then there you go.
I mean, it's available everywhere now, but
now.
But it's funny how it's available everywhere now, and the remake is still Sony only. Well, it's PC as well, but like console wise, it's PlayStation only. So.
Yeah. Where do you want to go next? Nintendo, third party, or Xbox?
Yeah, get the other easy one out of the way.
All right, Nintendo.
All right, so Mario.
Yeah, scratch it. Mario's on there.
Yeah, so Mario, that's an easy one. Link, obviously.
Yep.
Samus, obviously.
Yep.
And now I think this is where we might have different ideas for the last two, but I put Pikachu.
I just put a Pokemon in general. I'm like,
well, I went Pikachu just because that's the most recognizable, so that was the easy one to me. And then the last one I put in was Kirby. I had a few options that I went between, but Kirby was the one I settled on. I thought about Donkey Kong, but I went like, no, Donkey Kong's so loosely connected to Mario that I kind of went Kirby over top of it.
Yeah, like I was like, there's so many characters you could do. You could do like Bowser. Bowser would be good. I thought of doing like Star Fox, but then once again, what do you do with Star Fox?
I was trying my best to keep away from like crossing characters that are next to each other, so that's why I left Bowser out as well. Fox, I think, and this is my hot take, I don't think Star Fox has really been relevant ever. I think Smash is the reason that Star Fox is relevant today.
I disagree. Star Fox 64 was a big game. That was well, pretty...
but it's so far in the past now that I don't think anybody cares about Star Fox the game. They just know that Fox is a Smash character at this point. In the same way that like people know that like any Earthbound character is a Smash character. Like I think Fox is at that point now where anybody that's in Star Fox that's in a Smash Brothers game is all they're known for by people that are under the age of 20 at this point.
Yeah, I'd say probably even 25.
Yeah, that's probably...
It's pretty much our generation that knows Star Fox from like Star Fox 64.
If you're over the age of 30, you might remember Star Fox, and now most people are like, is that really bad game that they released on Wii U?
That was the one that was on that Nintendo's Classic, and that sucked, so...
All right, well,
that was an easy one.
That was the easy one.
Rapid fire.
You thought Sony was the easy one. Oh, please.
I have a feeling Xbox is going to be very similar as well.
I actually disagree. I think I did a couple ones that are out there, so.
Okay. Well, I went the more easy route, so we'll see where this goes. First one for me was Master Chief.
Well, that's the gimme.
That's the gimme, right? What's one from?
Master Chief is my one as well.
Okay, cool. My next one was Doom Guy from Doom.
Okay.
I went with the idea, it's on other consoles, but it's owned by Microsoft at this point, so whatever. What was your number 2?
My number 2, I went with Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix are going to look pretty similar, but one has a laser gun that goes pew pew, and another one has a gun that goes rin. And that's about as different as it needs to be. I mean, look, Smash Brothers has like 25 Fire Emblem characters anyway, so what's the difference? He has a gun? Well, they have swords.
Fair enough. I went with Dovahkiin from Skyrim. Once again, sticking with Bethesda. well's not deep, so you scramble what you can. And I thought that would be a cool character because you could play it a whole bunch of different ways. You can have a magic-based character, a sword-based character, an archer-based character, and then you got like the dragon breath kind of stuff or whatever it's called. Like you can do the voice. I don't know. I don't remember playing it that much, so. But I thought Dovahkiin would be a cool one.
Okay, so my next one, technically this is now cross-platform today, but when it first came out, it was an Xbox property because BioWare used to be specifically making this game for Xbox, so I went with a Mass Effect character. I had trouble figuring out which one I wanted to go for. I mean, Commander Shepard you don't do because that's then making a canon what Shepard looks like for everybody, and no one wants to do that. So there were a few choices I went with. The one that I went with Liara Tassoni, which is the character that has the biotic power, so more like a magic of like time and space level stuff. Like I thought that was going to be the most different. Granted, again, we're still talking about usage of guns, but at least this time you have a bit more of like spell casting that you can do to kind of make it. And I think the idea of biotic powers, of being able to like take somebody and like push them aside, I think is a really cool power for a Smash game. So that was the one that I think worked best, because I'm sure some people are going to think, if you're a Mass Effect fan, of like Garrus or Tali or Rex, but for the most part they're just run and gun, and considering I already have 2 running gunners, I don't think I can do 3.
Yeah. My next one was Cuphead. Main character.
Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't consider that.
Just going around doing the finger gun shoots, so I thought it'd be a fun one.
Yeah, that's real interesting. Let's see here. I went with, because like I said, Jin Kasai I was going to ignore. Or is it Jin Sakai or Kasai?
I don't know. I call it Sakai. Jin Sakai.
I need to check now because
I'm pretty sure it's Sakai.
Okay, Sakai is Ghost of Tsushima. Is there a Jin Kasai that I'm thinking of somewhere else?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Jun Kasai, which is a professional wrestler in Japan. Oh, my wrestling brain. God damn it. All right. But no, I went with Ryu Hayabusa from the Ninja Gaiden series.
Call.
That is a character that's like Sonic with swords. I'm in for that. I love playing Sonic and Smash because I'm a total asshole with them, because I don't actually attack much. I just keep launching myself all across the screen and just make it a pain for people to hit me.
Awesome. That's a good one. Last one I had was I had Senua from Hellblade. I thought that was a cool character. Nice. Once again, there's not much there to pick from, but a lot of the ones I realized I was gonna say a lot of the ones I realized I put in my third party could have actually fallen into Xbox. We could talk about that.
Yeah. I threw a real random one, just like I did with Gravity Rush. I threw Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest. I don't know how that works as a character necessarily with the rest of them, but who cares? Like, it's Microsoft's Pokemon character. It's their Pikachu. Make it work.
Yeah, I had a hard time with this one, so I'm going to let that go. The other one I had was just doing a plane, so just have like a fighter plane or just like
just
a crop duster or something like, from Flight Simulator. It just flies around, just like get like a Warhawk, just going around, just drop it, like shooting stuff. There's not much.
We make jokes, but I'm in for that.
So we've got a situation where it's like Kratos and Mario versus plane.
Mm-hmm.
Just a crop duster just flies around, just crop dusting everything.
I'm in. I'm so in.
Yeah. Third party. So this one's just free for all. Any characters that we may have missed. What do you got for me?
Okay, so I forgot the Doom guy was Bethesda. My brain short circuited and forgot Microsoft.
Yeah,
but Doom
worry.
guy was originally there. If we're gonna be technical and say that should be Microsoft now, fine. I'll just switch him to Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. There, done.
Whatever. I got a bunch that could have been Microsoft, or people will be like, actually, but you know.
Well, given the rest that I have, they're definitely more PC based, so I'm okay with those. But like, if people were technically being like, well, that would fall into Microsoft, fine, Scorpion. There, shut up.
Yeah. My first one is I actually did go Commander Shepard from Mass Effect. I just. You're totally right. Like, oh, which one is the canon one? I'd honestly just make it. You can either be the Femme Shep or Guy Shep.
Yeah, like there are the cover versions, but like,
yeah, that's what I would just do.
I know that people would bitch and complain because they're like, well, that's not my Shepard. # not my Shepard.
Yeah, well, whatever. Then don't play it. So I thought Shepard would be cool because you can have a bunch of different ways of playing that. They could be a range character. They could be a melee character. So I thought that would be cool.
Yeah, it's definitely very applicable because you can make it similar to oh my god, what's the character in Smash that has like different? Why am I blank? All right, I'm blanking and I'm not accepting. Well, Mega Man sort of has that with the different power ups and things like that, but I can't think of who I'm thinking of right now, and it's pissing
Mega
me
Man
off.
would have been a good one
go
for
too heavy on
Nintendo.
it.
Mega Man would have been good for Nintendo.
Nah, I'm okay.
Anyways,
I was
continue.
going for fun.
So you said Doom guy?
Yeah, I was saying Doom guy, and if you had to be technical, Scorpion.
Okay, and then I did Commander Shepard. So who's your next character?
I went with Geralt.
I went with Geralt as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once again, pretty much
Specifically, Geralt in a bathtub.
Just the bathtub just goes. So basically, we've got Geralt in like a Beauty and the Beast scenario where the tub's just sentient.
It's like Wario on the motorcycle. It's just Geralt in a bathtub fighting around.
Yeah, I thought that'd be a good character because you got the swords and then you got the magic. I thought he would be a good character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another one that I had is Jesse Faden, which you may not recognize, but main character from Control. I thought, having someone who could just fly around and throw stuff and shoot with like the really cool gun. Kind of a neat mobile range character.
Yeah,
figure she'd kind of compare to like Cole from Infamous from the Nintendo or from the PlayStation side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then my next one, I pulled out Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life series because don't tell me the gravity gun with like being able to take like say that game has like power ups the same way that Smash Brothers does. If you can take that gravity gun and launch stuff at people, oh boy, that would be fun. Just launch the giant crate at people instead of throwing it.
Just use the gravity gun against Cat from Gravity Rush and just
Who wins?
Yeah. My next one is I had Big Daddy from BioShock. I think that's another big, awesome, heavy character that you could have in there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I went to Overwatch for this one because I figured they have so many different characters that I think are so interesting. I'm like, okay, who would work the best? And then I realized, oh wait, that's a gimme, Tracer, because Tracer's ability to go back in time, like, and avoid stuff is just such a cool power up. Now, it would be really interesting if you have like a character that doesn't do a lot of damage, but also can reverse some of the damage done to her. I think it would be a really cool concept. So like, it's more the game of like you're the one that's playing to last rather than playing to just destroy.
Yeah. I had a similar idea with my next one that was Ezio from Assassin's Creed. Not one where you're doing like a lot of damage because obviously you're theoretically supposed to be a spy or like a sneaky. So my thing would be trying to be position control. So, doing smoke bombs to get out of places. And the neat gimmick would be like if you could get above another character, have like an assassin's kind of drop on them. That'd be a kind of way to like do damage. But it's more about hit and run, kind of just be a pain in the ass and just outlast as opposed to be doing a bunch of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. The last one, I mean, there's so many choice. Like again, we're skipping over these. Are just the people that came to mind right away.
Microsoft limited us.
Yeah, I wanted to throw some like interesting ones that even like as someone who hasn't played the series, I would love to see how that turns out. But like I've seen so many people talk about how much of a badass Sarah Kerrigan was from the StarCraft series.
Oh yeah,
that I want to see that in fighting game form and just watch like, especially if she has like a command of like Zerg. Like a Zerg army that she can send at her opponents. Like that sounds like such a cool mechanic.
That would be a special.
Kind of like Oliver from Pikmin, but way, way, way worse. Like for you.
Yeah. So my list is done, but one of the honorable mentions that I had that I was thinking of was doing like the Hollow Knight. So having Hollow Knight in there, fast, nimble, poking character.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question is, he's a bug. So like, would he be the same size as everyone, or would he just be like an itty little bitty bug running across the screen? Probably be a full-size thing.
That'd be really neat.
Otherwise, Geralt in his tub would just crush him.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with third party. Like, you could make a game of, like, just cross-platform characters for, like, or even just PC and cross-platform for, like, you could do a party of 50 and still have some pretty decent names coming up at that point.
Oh, yeah. And then you can even start getting weirder and start having IPs in there, because, like, you can put Batman. Then you get weirder and weirder and have the mods from Skyrim.
Yeah, you go into, like, multiverses level stuff.
No, you go. Holy crap! We didn't even put Spider-Man in from PlayStation. That was
I consider that too, but then I went, that's more like Marvel property than Sony. So you know what? I got other things I can throw in there.
I avoided the IP thing.
If we did 10, I probably would have. He would have made it.
Yeah, for sure. So, no, I think it's a good roster.
The fun one then is if you had to pick one character off your list as like your main, who's it going to be?
I think it's a toss-up between three. I think it's either Kratos. Kratos is an easy one. Doom Guy. Or I'd say Geralt. Those would be my three. And I think I'm leaning towards Kratos.
I mean, I've never been good at Smash games, so I always just go for what's the one that sounds like the most fun for me. So I go with Tracer easily as my main because I love
Oh.
like speedy characters.
Oh, you meant like which one would you play
Like,
as?
which one
I'm
would you
sorry.
main?
Oh, I misread the assignment. I think it'd be a toss up between Jin Sakai, Samus, or Ezio. I think those would be fun ones to kind of screw around with. Just
Like if I was looking at everything here, like I if it was Sony's side, I'd probably start with Aloy. If it was Microsoft's, I'd probably lean Liara because I'm a Mass Effect nerd. Nintendo, I already know who I'm gonna go with right away. It's gonna be Link
Link would be good too.
It's simple enough. And yeah, like I say, if I'm going for any of them, Tracer is probably the one that I would start with first because that sounds like the most chaotic one that I can do, and that is exactly how I play Smash. I don't play to win. I just play to amuse myself.
So chaos.
Oh shit! What about the guy from Strangers of Paradise?
Oh yeah, that would have been.
What about Jack from Strangers of Paradise? Talk about chaos. And all he does is like every time they have the intro of like when fighters enter, they'd be like so and so. He's like, I don't give a fuck who you are, and just punches them every single time at the start of battle. I'm in.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
I'm in.
Adam, this has been a bit of a brisk episode, but yeah, you've got a review for us for what is it again?
Chained Echoes.
Chained Echoes. That's right. My apologies. Yeah, go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we are not influential enough, not connected enough to get video games ahead of time, so we review them on our own dime and on our own time when we can, as we can, bringing you untimely reviews.
Yeah, Adam? So Chained Echoes, available basically everywhere. I got introduced to it on Game Pass because, again, much like Eastward, when I talked about it on our Best of 2022, I've kind of lucked out with Game Pass as of English is a difficult language sometimes. I've found some like really cool stuff as of late that I never would have tried without Game Pass, which again is why I love the fact that Extra exists. I love the fact that, you know, Steam has the amount of sales that it does. I love that Epic gives away free games. Like having the opportunity to be able to try a bunch of stuff that you normally wouldn't, I think is great. And it's really paid off in the last couple of weeks for me with Game Pass because Eastward is my favorite game from 2022, and Chained Echoes has made a real strong start for my 2023 because I adore this game as an old school JRPG. So Chained Echoes definitely kind of has that Super Nintendo era, like Game Boy Advance era level JRPG graphically. The traversalness, the way that everything works, it definitely feels like Chrono Trigger-esque. It has that kind of traversal feel to it. And the story itself is like, the story is a mixed bag. Like, I still love it for what it is. I think it does really well in being funny. It's very self-aware of a lot of the tropes that JRPGs do, so it definitely points out a lot of the dumb stuff that JRPGs will write into their games, which I love fourth wall breaking. It's great for me. I love that stuff. The story itself, in terms of like its actual content, I think has moments of, wow, that was a really interesting storyline, and then it's gone and you have to move on to something else. And it definitely goes through the same motions again of, okay, who's the real big baddie going to be at the end? Oh, are we going to fight God towards the end? Oh, who's going to stab us in the back for the 9th time in this entire storyline? Like, all of that stuff still there because a JRPG wouldn't be one without it. But what really sold me on this was two things. One, the way that they work with skills, in that your character doesn't level up. Leveling up, I think, is one system that I like, and then the battle system is the other one that I think is so unique. So the level up system in Chained Echoes is not you level up and you get stats. Every time you beat a boss, you get a new skill point. So you can use that skill point for, generally they open up, I think it's 4 different waves of 4-ish. It depends. Sometimes it opens up and gives you a little bit more, but it opens up a new bracket of your character. So it opens up some more skills, both battle tested skills and then passive skills. So like you could like extra HP, or if you put your character in the back lines and in exchange for another party member, they can gain some of their skill points back, or their like magic points or ability points, whatever you want to look at it as. So there's some cool things you can do with that. And then there's also just basic like buffs that you can do. Like you can just buff their attack, you can buff their HP, you can make them resistant to certain things. Like there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. You don't have to just put them into skills. You don't have to just put them into buffs. You can kind of pick and choose what you want. And then at every point you do, a certain number of those points, it unlocks the next bracket and it unlocks more stuff for you to go with. So your characters evolve as you beat more and more bosses. It's not just simple, you can grind the same 2 pigeons over and over again for 5 XP and suddenly be level 35. No, you actually have to play the game if you want to get upgrades, if you want to get more skills, if you want to do other things. And they also have these statues that if you find, I can't remember what the item is called, but you have to find an item that when you go to that statue, you unlock a special fight that unlocks another class you can add on to that character, and it gives them a couple more skills that they can use along as well. Also does some extra buffs to their stats. So like there's one that you get that's I think it's called a mage warrior or something, and it buffs their strength, their HP, and also their magic. So if you want to have somebody that does a little bit of both, there's ones that like up your luck a lot if you're looking for a person who does good high critical damage. So like by the time the game was over, I had this myriad of different classes I could change. And as soon as you learn the skills too from those classes, you can switch the class to somebody else so that they can learn that skill too. So it's not like you're tying it to one character. So if there's a skill you really like, for example, one of them is a basic healing spell. If you want all of them to have that healing spell, you can do that very easily. So you can definitely make it so that you can either make each character different, which is what I chose to do, or you can make every character like a hybrid of like the best thing that suits your playstyle. So I already like the way that the class system was designed. The battle system is very basic JRPG, except for one thing, and I love this gimmick because it makes every battle not a throw skills left and right, or throw like your highest damage stuff every single time and then hope for the best. So in the battles, if anybody's watching on YouTube, you'll see it right now, actually, ironically, a battle just started here. There's a bar in the top left of the screen that has 3 colors. It's yellow, green, and red. If that cursor is in the yellow, it's just normal, nothing's different. If it's in the green, and every time you do an attack, it goes further and further up. So if you keep going, eventually it goes into the red. If it's in the green, your skills are halved, so they cost half as much and they do more damage. But if they go into the red, they now cost the same amount, but they don't do as much damage and you take more damage. So if you over attack, you can put yourself potentially in a spot where you can be very weak. And especially in boss fights, that is fatal every time. Because again, you can't over level, so you can't just overpower a boss. You have to actually strategize your moves. Now, there are also moves that were highlighted in battle that if you use those, it actually knocks the meter down a bit. Or you can defend, it'll knock the meter down, or you can change a character out and it will knock the meter down a little bit as well. So there are ways to put it back down, but you have to be very cautious because if you really need to heal somebody and they're going to die next turn if you don't, but it puts you in the red, now you risk of, okay, this person might get healed up, but the next hit that I take is going to suck. Or I really need to kill this fight that has 4 people and this one character, or this one enemy is going to piss me off if he's still alive, but I might go into the red and that character has an area of effect attack that might actually knock somebody out here if I'm unlucky. So it really makes each battle not just a simple keep hitting attack over and over again until it's done. And skill points are refreshed at the end of every fight too, so you can keep abusing skills if you want. It's not like you have to worry about having to constantly heal up your magic points like you would in, say, a Final Fantasy game. They constantly refresh. So you can start off the battle the same way, and then depending on how the flow of battle goes, maybe you need to heal sooner, maybe there's even bosses that even fuck with that bar. So there's a couple of bosses that'll make it so that there are a couple of reds throughout it and greens throughout it. So you have to be really cautious of what you're doing. So I like that it made battles less click over and over, hitting A repeatedly just to get through the fight. And now more, okay, I'll use this skill here. I might just defend here, or I might put this other party member here. They're not really going to do anything. But if I use this character's skill again, I might get too close to red, and I want to be careful with that. And the same goes later when they put, of course, it's a Japanese game. Mechs get involved much later in the game, and they have a similar system that uses that same bar, but there's also more to it where they have 3 different gears. One of them, the bar doesn't move. One of them, the bar moves right. One of them, the bar moves left. So they have some interesting ways to make each fight unique. It's not just throw skill, magic, attack, boom, done. Every battle could be different based on how the bar shows up, because if the skill that you like using a lot doesn't get highlighted to turn the bar back down, you kind of spend that battle dancing around what you want to do because you don't want to get into that danger zone where you're going to get destroyed. Luckily, if you don't want to do too heavy on that, there are accessibility settings that can make the bar a lot more forgiving. I think the bar that's on screen right now is the forgiving version, because there are versions where the red bar is a lot bigger, so you got to be real careful about what you do. But yeah, like, I love this game for taking a pretty basic looking JRPG and actually doing a couple of like what feels like minor but very unique tweaks that really stand out in the end.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not one for JRPGs, but like hearing you talk about it and the fact that they're taking taking the formula, but they're not just like they're adjusting it. They're reflecting, like, changing times and coming in with fresh ideas. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, there are characters, much like, a lot of JRPGs, there are characters, like, much later on in the game that there's one of the last characters that you can come across optionally is an absolute game changer, and just completely, and like their mechanics are so unique. So they have attacks that if you use this attack first and you use a certain attack after that attack, it gets extra damage because it's like a chain combo attack for that character. Like, they all have something individual. Like, some of them are like the two on screen there are pretty basic. One's an archer. Most of his attacks are status inflicting. And then you have the girl with the staff who does a lot of elemental damage. So she's great for that mage warrior class, for example, because she is damage, and also most of her attacks carry some sort of magical element to them. But there's even a character towards the end of the game that you can optionally recruit that's like fucking Gambit. Like, that literally throws cards and everything is up to chance. Like, her attacks roll, it's like a dice roll of 1 to 10, and depending on what that dice is, it could be this much damage, and it could be single or targeted to everybody, or one where it's just like if you roll a 10, it's like rolling a d20. You're gonna fuck that one up so hard. So, like, I love the fact that, too, it isn't just mage, like, warrior, thief. Like, there are some of those archetypes, but there are some too that go way off the board and do some pretty interesting things too.
Cool. In terms of scoring, we typically do a 6-point scale, 1 to 3 sort of being from terrible to okay but not great, to 4 to 6, 4 being it's okay but it's good, all the way to 6 being amazing. Where does this one fall?
This is a solid 5 out of 6. The only reason that I keep it away from 6 is because I feel like the game maybe went a little too long, and I don't know if that's necessarily because of the story. I think it has more to do with the collectible. Like, we talked about collectibles last week. There's a lot of side stuff that can really take some time away from you, because there are different parts of the map that open up later in the game that you can use with those mechs that I talked about. So there ends up being a lot of backtracking if you want to get, like, the best stuff. And I didn't even do everything. Like, there are some optional bosses I didn't get to. Excuse me, there are some ultimate weapons that I didn't do. And I just realized that too. I'm like, I didn't do most of the ultimate weapons, which is crazy, because I got most of the items for it, but then never followed through with it. But I think there's a lot there that kind of takes a little bit extra time that didn't need to be there. They definitely threw a lot in there, because I think they went to the point of, oh, we really want to fit all of this in. There's a couple of characters that they could have done without. There's the odd part of the story that I think was not necessarily needed, wasn't detrimental, but didn't really add as much as, say, certain other chapters did. So I think just on the basis of, like, there's a few things that, I would have done differently. It's not perfect, and it's not that, like, 6 out of 6, like, top of the end quality, like, I have nothing bad to say about this game sort of deal. But, like, this was a very solid game, and really, really gave me an eye-opening to the amount of, like, JRPGs from the indie side of things that I really need to start looking at, because this was a fantastic one, and I really need to start paying attention to these more often.
Yeah. Oh, it looks cool. It looks really appealing.
I think awesome. Chris is already playing it, so, I'm sure he'll have something to say about it soon.
It's awesome. Cool. I think that about does it for this week.
It does just about do it. I don't even know how much time. See, now that I'm using a different streaming software for our recording, I don't see the timer of how long we started at. So for all I know, this could have been like 40 minutes.
I think that's what we're about. I think we're at about 40 minutes.
All right, so I'm gonna do one more thing. You know what really grinds my gears?
No, you know what? I think it's quality over quantity on this one. So
Yeah, considering how many episodes with the three of us, we can easily go to an hour and a half now. You know what? I'll take a 45 any day of the week.
I still gotta do dishes. So.
I mean, my editing software also probably thank me for it too, because it's gonna save like I don't know a couple gigabytes of rendering it has to do.
It's not gonna be wheezing.
Oh no, it's always wheezing. It's Premiere, of course it's wheezing.
Fair enough. Cool, awesome. Well, Adam, thank you so much for another awesome episode, awesome week. Yeah, I'll let you close up the show.
All right then. Well, since I am the one getting the honors today. Chrisless show, not to matter. So we're not going to advertise this guy at all. He's a blank space. Don't worry about that. But
Chris,
thanks for enjoying the show with us, everybody. I hope you guys had a blast this evening, this afternoon, this morning. I don't know. Maybe you're listening to this at 2 in the morning for all I know. I have no idea. But it doesn't matter. As long as you're listening, we appreciate you for that, and we'd appreciate it too if you would. Either if you're on YouTube, liking the video, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. If you are listening on any audio platform that you listen to podcasts on, whether that's Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Apple, Google Podcasts, if you have the ability to rate us, give us that old 5-star rating. I'll even take 4.5. I don't think you can do half stars, but they should allow you to do half stars. That's very sad that you can't. But yeah, share it with all your friends as well, including, as Kaylan would say, your grandma. Come on, grandma's got nothing else to do. You should be sharing it with everybody.
She's lonely at home.
But otherwise, if you want to check out where you can find us, you can check out our link tree at linktr.ee/pixelplaypodcast, where you can find link to where you can get our podcasts everywhere, link to our socials, link to our email if you want to ask questions, and of course, link to our Discord where you can talk to us whenever you may like. So, unless Kaylan, you got anything left to say here?
Nope, that's it for me.
Alrighty then. Well, you everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one, and we will see you next week when we'll hopefully be back to the terrific trio that is myself, Kaylan, and Chris, when we hopefully will be going over what we want to see and what we think we'll see in 2023. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everybody.